सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति
ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति
मूर्तिभेदविभागिने
मूर्तिभेदविभागिने
व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय
व्योमवित्तात्तदेवाय
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम्
अमानित्वम् अदम्भित्वम्
अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम्
अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम्
आचार्योपासनं शौचम्
आचार्योपासनं शौचम्
स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः
स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रहः
Excuse me. इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम्
इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम्
अनहङ्कार एव च
अनहङ्कार एव च
जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि
जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि
दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्.
दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्.
Okay, we were discussing vairagya, indriyartheshu vairagya, particularly vairagyam with reference to objects, sense objects. And so in this context, even in the second chapter, Krishna has discussed a lot. Okay, so for example, in fact, two analogies have been used by Lord Krishna. One is for a person whose mind goes after the indriyarthas. Okay, so what is his state? So his state is like Vayur Navam Iva Ambasi, like that he gives an analogy. So Navam means a sail ship, you can say, or a sailboat. It is on water. Okay, Ambasi means it's on the water, it's in the sea. And this Nava is now being taken here and there by the wind. Okay, so forceful wind we have to consider, like a cyclone, let us take. So how a cyclone will affect a sailboat, like that if a person's mind goes along with the indriyarthas, then it is like a sailboat being affected by strong winds. Like that one analogy Bhagavan gives. So that means we have to be careful about indulging in sense objects. The other thing is, there is also another verse, Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashaha, like that. So kurma means tortoise. So the tortoise, whenever it senses any danger, what it will do? It will retract all its limbs and even its head into the shell. Okay, the protective shell. So similarly, indriyan indriyathebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita, like that verse goes. So like that, if one is able to withdraw one's senses, you have such a mastery that you can withdraw your senses from sense objects at any time. Okay, at your beck and call. then such a person's knowledge is well established. Tasya prajna pratishtita. Like that, another analogy is given, the analogy of a tortoise. So this tortoise analogy is quite common in our uh, in different language literature. Okay, when we talk about sense objects and sense organs, so like that, you should be able to withdraw. See, otherwise what happens, see, even one more, in fact in more than one place Bhagavan talks about this. See, yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipastitaha indriyan indriyarthebhya, sorry, yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipastitaha, and then haranti prasabham manaha, like that it says. So in the Bhagavad Gita, another verse where he says, even though yatataha api, even though you are making effort, okay, even though you are making effort, what happens? These indriyarthas are forcefully taking your mind away. Like that also Bhagavan says that. So different verses everywhere, the main point is what you have to be careful about, how you engage yourself. So that's a important thing here. And so that is about vairagya. So when we talk about the other next value, indriyartheshu vairagyam, anahankara evacha. Anahankara is the next value which Bhagavan is talking about. So already we looked at amanitvam, adambhitvam and all that. They are also related to ahankara only. So mani demands respect for whatever accomplishments which that person has. Okay. Dambhi goes one step further. Dambhi is a pretentious character. Okay, the one who pretends as though he is an accomplished person or somebody big and expects praise and respect from others. So those are also one type of ahankara related issue only. But here anahankara means what? Ahankara abhavaha. But again, ahankara abhava can be totally there only when you understand ahankara itself is mithya. Ahankara itself is not real. So the reality of ahankara we can question. How? See, if you do the analysis in Vedanta, right now all of us have some ahankara, correct? I am so and so. I am Hari, I am Krishna, I am Meenakshi, whatever it is. But in a dream, your ahankara may be different. You may not be Hari, okay? You may be taking up some other ahankara. It depends on how the dream is. And in deep sleep, there is nothing, there is no individuality at all. There is no ahankara, to so to speak. Of course, we can wake up and say, I slept well and all that. But there is no ahankara. So from this, what we understand is, from a Vedantic standpoint, ahankara cannot be considered as real, because whatever is real has to be unchanging in all periods of time. That's how we define Satyam. Okay, what is Satyam as per Vedanta is Trikale api tishtati. In all three periods of time, whether it is waking, dreaming, deep sleep, it has to be there, unchanging. That is what is really Satyam. Everything else comes and goes. Whatever comes and goes is not ultimate reality. Okay, it's all dependent reality, you can say the best. Or it's all unreal, really speaking, it's not real. So the individuality also comes and goes. Individuality changes. So even the ahankara changes throughout your life. How you had a ahankara as a baby is not the same thing what you have today. So ahankara is also a changing thing even within the waking state, but across the dream and sleep again it vanishes. It becomes different. So the individuality itself is questionable. The reality of the individuality, if you understand it as what it is, that it is really not as real as we think. Because all the problems, all the issues are for the individual. Even moksha is for individual only. The individual only is the mumukshu. Individual is the one who feels the bondage, and individual is the one who is seeking the solution. But the solution is what? The solution is the very individuality itself is not real. So you have to surrender your individuality at the altar of the limitless. That is the ultimate surrender. But again, as a sadhaka, as one who has started Vedanta Shravanam, the study of Vedanta, this cannot be the meaning of anahankara. Because one who has understood this, that individuality itself is nothing but mithya, is the one who truly has anahankara or ahankara bhava. Because ahankara is not real anymore. Its reality itself is deflated. And so, this anahankara can be there only for a jnani. But here, anahankara is talked about as a value for a sadhaka. So, what do we understand then here? So, it is relatively we have to understand. So, generally we think we are the owner or we are the one who has accomplished something like that. I am this, I am that, I am so and so. All these thoughts are there, correct? But what is the reality of even these notions? If we analyze that, actually we can't claim ownership or authorship for anything. So many people are helping us. You can't even say that I own my body. Your mother has a claim because your body has come from your mother. Your father has a claim, and all the people who have given you food, they have a claim over your body. Similarly, you say that I have created this, I have created that, but all the people who have taught you right from ABCD onwards, they all have a claim in whatever thing you have created, whatever you have authored. So you are standing on the shoulders of so many people, even if you accomplish something. So if we look at the reality like this, then we cannot have the same ahankara like we had before doing this analysis. Before appreciating this fact, you had a different type of ahankara, let us say. But once you appreciate the fact that I am not the owner of anything, or I cannot even claim complete authorship or creatorship for anything, then your ahankara is different. It is more of an enlightened ahankara. It knows its own limitations. And such an attitude is very helpful, because here we are anyway talking about appreciating the whole creation as a manifestation of Ishvara, correct? So if the whole creation and everything in that is in a certain order, and you are also taking part in that order, correct? Or if you look at the whole creation as a great yajna, even in the Purusha Sukta, the creation itself is talked about as a yajna. And we are all also taking part in that in one way or the other. Okay, so we are all, at best you can say, I am an instrument. Okay, this also is another attitude. As a bhakta, you understand that all the glories are not really your glories, they are the glories of the Lord which is expressing through you. You may be talented, but many talented people will say that they don't know why they are talented like this, where it came from. Some people are child prodigies. It is there. So whether you can claim any, you can be proud about that, I don't know. But you have to nurture your talent, you have to work hard, and all that is there. And that is what you are expected to do also, correct? So that is how we take part in this yajna called creation. So we play our part, but we are not everything in this. So that appreciation is very important. You surrender to the Lord who is manifest as this entire creation. So that bhava, sharanagati, will actually free you from so many things. Because if you think I am the doer, I am the creator, I am the author, then you have to take all the praise and also the brickbats. Also, you will feel that I am a failure also. You crave for success means you have to be ready to take failure, because you think you are the karma paladata, you are the author of the results of your action, let us say. If you think like that, then most probably you will end up thinking that you are a failure, because most of the desires we have, we cannot fulfill them in the way we would like to, correct? The number of desires which are not fulfilled according to your expectation are much more than the number of desires which have been fulfilled. That's the reality of all our experiences. So, to not take oneself as the author of any results of action is this anahankara here. Is that clear? So, this anahankara bhava is very important for a sadhaka, for a mumukshu to have. Then you won't look upon yourself as success or failure or anything like that. You do your duty without having this judgment about oneself. So if you start judging yourself, then it's a problem again. So you will end up condemning yourself. And again, all these things are reinforcing your limitedness only. Okay. So the ahankara itself is a limited thing. What you claim as I is not all encompassing. So you should be ready to surrender this ahankara. And that is the bhava which is very important. So in surrendering the limited, actually you are gaining the limitless. So that is the beauty here. So we should be ready to surrender all the limited notions which we have about ourselves, correct? All notions which we have about ourselves are only reinforcing that we are limited in this way or that way from different standpoints. Surrender all those notions. Surrender your individuality also, because individuality is the root of all limitations. As soon as you think you are an individual, you are different from everything else, and everything else is so big, correct? It's the entire universe. Of course, you will feel threatened, you will feel frightened, and you have to live with all these issues.
As you told, my question is, as soon as we wake up, the I feeling and I am so and so, everything related to I and mine is coming by
Coming
itself.
naturally, correct?
Naturally.
That is the avichara siddham. because we have never analyzed ourselves or our individuality, whether it is real or not, whether it is there always with us or not.
Yeah.
So our own drishti of ourselves is like I have ahankara, I am an individual. But the Shastra drishti is totally different.
Yeah. So my question is, what is a practical way so that I understand it very clearly, but I'm not very sure what is a practical way to achieve this? Maybe is it it will take more time to get it,
There is
because
nothing practical
sometimes.
here. It's like you keep on listening, that's all.
Okay.
See, Vedanta Shravanam is the only way you can see your own individuality as mithya. When you listen to your guru, the guru is only reinforcing what the Shastra is telling about you. Correct?
Yeah.
So, listening to Vedanta is very special. Uh, it's not like any other knowledge also. Because here we are not learning an object. Of course, that is why it is difficult. See, throughout our life, as an individual, I have known about other things. Okay. So all other pramana also operate like that. They give you objective knowledge. Even black hole, let us say, is not available for sense perception and all that. But it is also inferentially we objectify it. And we have a certain concept about it in our mind still as an object only. So all the knowledge which we have gained till now is all objective knowledge, scientific knowledge included. But Vedanta is talking about you, the subject. But the subject cannot be objectified. And the subject need not be objectified is the more difficult thing you have to understand. Because you are self-evident. I am there. I don't need any pramana to establish that I am there. Understand that first. We are all self-illumining and self-evident conscious beings. A self-conscious being uses a pramana. So even the pramana vyapara presupposes the subject. So we don't have to know ourselves using any pramana or anything else. All you have to do is shed your wrong notions. And that's what Shastra is trying to do. When the words of the Guru you are listening to, you see yourself in the light of those words rather than what you were thinking you were. Correct? So you have to leave your prior notions about yourself and just be yourself in the light of this Shastra. So that is the thing, that is the interesting thing here. That's what listening to Guru has to give you. So that's why it is very important to listen to Shastra, and you have to keep on listening again and again so that the original thing is right now sahaja, correct? Naturally, you think you are an individual, but naturally, you should come to a level that individuality is mithya. You can keep doing vyavahara, but vyavahara has no, it is like shadow, correct? It has no reality, it cannot touch you. So that is the reality. That should become natural. Till then, this Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, Vedanta sadhana has to keep on going. And is there any end to that? Means till it becomes natural, it has to keep going. That's also for each person it varies. Somebody, the insight is so powerful that it changes you totally. It's a self transformation we are talking about. Others, it may take time. See, that's what those who have a certain emotional maturity and a mind which is already calm, which doesn't have any complexes. For such a person, it is easier to appreciate Vedanta. Even a person should be accomplished, I think. See, those who are not accomplished, for them Vedanta is slightly difficult because first as an individual, you have to feel accomplished. then only you can see the limitation of your own accomplishment. If you are not accomplished, the problem is you are still that hurt ego, or the ego which has certain complexes. It has to be taken care of. And once that is taken care of, then only you can see, once you are able to appreciate that all your accomplishments are also limited and it is not the ultimate that you are seeking, then Vedanta will start making sense. So that is the maturity we are talking about. Even all these values actually are only for making you appreciate this, correct? It's all attitudinal change. So you keep listening to Vedanta, it will help you in gaining these values also, because you look at yourself differently. So to start with, relatively this ahankara, we have to appreciate that whatever I think is my glory is really the Ishvara's glory, or at least it is the glory which is shared by so many other people who have helped you in life, who are still helping you live whatever life you have, correct? So at least that much, if you are able to appreciate, that is anahankara. Anahankara in the context of as a value. Of course, for a jnani it is absolute. Jnani, for a jnani, individuality itself is nothing. There is no reality in that. Of course, jnani has to do vyavahara, correct? Guru has to teach. But the very fact that I am teaching you through words and explaining to you what your reality is will not alter the reality that the teaching itself is also mithya, correct? Teacher taught, teaching, everything is again mithya only. The whole pursuit of knowledge and gaining knowledge, moksha, everything is in the realm of this mithya. All vyavahara is mithya, including this Vedanta Shravanam and all those things. It doesn't, that's why even in one place Upanishad says, for a jnani, Veda becomes Aveda. So Veda also is no more Veda. Why? Because a jnani doesn't look upon oneself as a knower. That I am a knower itself is mithya. Only if something is there to be known, I will be a knower, correct? The very status of being a subject is dependent on an object being cognized. Only with respect to an object I am a subject. But if there is nothing else to know, like in deep sleep, for example, then you don't have to be even a subject. But you are still there as a conscious being. So even the notion of being a subject, the subjecthood or subjectness, is also not a real thing. That's also part of this vyavahara. So the subject and object are dependent realities which are arising out of myself. When I wake up in the morning, both are there together. And if something is mutually dependent, it has to depend on a third thing. Both of them have to depend on a third thing for their very existence. That is myself, which is the conscious being, which is the basis for the entire vyavahara, the subject-object vyavahara. The whole world can be divided into subject and object, correct? That's it. I am there, everything else is there. Everything else is an object. Whether it is the next galaxy or it is some other planet like whatever, Pluto, or whoever is sitting in front of me, all those things are in the objective world and I am the subject. And the subject object transactional world itself is mutually dependent. In fact, modern scientists can understand it even better, correct? Because the observer has been brought into the equation due to quantum physics and all that. Of course, I don't want to go too much into that. So the observer collapses a quantum system. This is the understanding of even physicists. But they don't know how to define this observer and all that. So they have their own paradox. There's a von Neumann's paradox and all that. But Vedanta is clear. There is only one Chaitanyam, which is the basis for everything. So if you start from that axiom, then you can even derive your physical theories and all that. Okay. So that's in fact, in that direction, many people are already thinking. They are all trying to do some research, bring their own theories based on this Vedantic teaching. So the Vedantic teaching can be taken as an axiom. Okay, that's all. Other than that, you cannot claim that Vedanta is scientific and all that. This point we have already discussed a lot in the introduction to Vedanta, correct? When we discussed Pramana. So anyway, coming back here, this Anahankara as a value is, at least relatively, I should be able to appreciate the fact that I am only an instrument. I am only a participant in this drama, in this Leela of Ishvara. Okay, I can take part in the order, or I am one of the actor in this drama, whichever way you look at it. So different ways, and all the glories which I think is mine is really Ishvara's glory. So this is, in fact, in Bhagavad Gita also there is a Vibhuti Yoga. There is a whole chapter where Bhagavan says, wherever you see any glory, that glory is me. So he gives a huge list. Vedanam Samavedosmi, Masanam Margashirshoham, like this. So among the Vedas I am Samaveda, because Samaveda is special, that there is it is sung, it is not just chanted. So there is some speciality there. Similarly, among months I am Mrigashirsha or Margari, because that month is supposed to be pleasant and all that. So like this, wherever you see anything, any glory, know that glory to be mine. Like this Vibhuti Yoga is talked about. And if that attitude you are able to cultivate, and then it will actually, as I told you, it will, if you don't think that you are the author of the results of your action, that is going to help you. You are no more responsible for the results of the action, in the sense that you are not the author, correct? Of course, you are still responsible for acting. You have to make effort, but the results are coming from Ishvara. If you are able to appreciate that, then you cannot have any ahankara. Okay, so that is the important thing here. Anahankara is a value, and we have to cultivate the anahankara as an attitude. That will help us. In fact, it will also give you some peace of mind. So that's an important attitude. Anahankara evacha. Then the next value is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. It's a single compound. So those who are going to study Sanskrit grammar and all, you can be little thrilled, but okay, it's a big compound. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. So Janma cha, Mrityu cha, Jara cha, Vyadhi cha. So Janma and Mrityu. Janma means what? Birth. Mrityu means death. Jara is old age. Vyadhi is disease. So our life, all these things are given in anybody's life. Janma is there means Mrityu is there. You can't do anything about it. Then again, Jara also, old age also will come. Whatever you do, Maybe with advancement in science and all that, you can delay it a little bit, or you do some special yoga, you get some yogic powers and all that, you can be there for a few more thousand years, let us say. But still, it doesn't mean anything. It's all limited, correct? If you are born, you will have to die. And old age will come, disease also will come in some form or the other, at least on this earth. So this, we have to appreciate these limitations of our own life. And you have to look at the dukkha also is there in all these things, correct? When you are born, there is some trauma in that itself. The birthing process itself is traumatic to the mother and to the child also. In fact, in age regression and all we do sometimes in hypnotherapy, it goes right into the fetus, or during the labor, whatever happens even affects the emotional well-being of the child. So if somebody, we in Tamil Nadu we call Ayudha case and all that, correct? If they'll put some forceps and the delivery is not happening naturally, but they'll pull the baby out, let us say, with the forceps. But even the such processes create a trauma. That itself is a dukkha to the baby. So the baby is able to feel the trauma, there is a problem there, but it doesn't have the language, it can't express it, it just goes into the subconscious. But it is there, whatever was felt, that feeling doesn't vanish, it is all recorded, and later on it can have some issues. So like this, Janma itself is a trauma only. Then dying also can be traumatic. Only a few people can face their death peacefully. Most of the others want the Yamadharmaraja to come at least tomorrow. You may be having a creaking body, it is paining all over, they have put needles everywhere, or they have put some oxygen mask on your nose, still you want to live one more day because you are not certain of what is there on the other side. You are afraid. So there is a fear of death, is very natural to most people. So that also is a dukkha. Mrityu or maranam is also a dukkha, it's a painful process. Then old age also is a painful process, correct? As you become older, so many things are not the same as it was in your youth. So even I have to wear glasses. So only recently I started wearing glasses. But even that is a pain. I have to remember to carry the glass because I don't have that habit. And I leave it somewhere and then I have to struggle a little bit. So old age, it catches on. So many different problems. And diseases are also there. So after a certain age, the food is eating you rather than you eating the food. That's the reality. And different types of diseases are there. Some chronic issues are there. Some tragic issues are there. Okay, so different kinds of problems are there. So all these things are all dukkha, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, and they are also a dosha. This compound you can see in two ways: the dukkham cha, dosham cha. You can look at all these things as both a dukkha and also some kind of a fault, correct? Or dukkha eva dosha. Since all these things have this pain, that itself is their fault. Okay. So if you are able to see that janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam, so you have to appreciate this fact, is what Bhagavan is saying. If you appreciate the fact, then only you become a mumukshu, correct? All these things are pointing out to limitations, because janma is also for this body. Jara is for this body. Mrityu is also for the body. Vyadhi also is for the body. So if you see all this dukkha and all these things are actually for the body. If you think you are the body, then you have had it. But at least if you are seeing all these things as something undesirable and you want to get rid of all these things, then only you can become a mumukshu. So you look at all these things as limitations. Okay, so the dosha part, you can say it is a limitation. That's why it is a dosha. So then you become a mumukshu. You want to get rid of all these limitations. So even the Buddha story is about all these things, correct? So he sees in each episode something, and then he gains a certain vairagya and he leaves everything and goes away in search of knowledge. So appreciating this again will help you to become a mumukshu. So mumukshutvam is one of the most important thing. So you should be able to appreciate the limitation of the life which you are leading right now, and also have enough confidence and interest to get rid of these limitations. Okay, that is the thing. So you should have a burning desire to be free from all these limitations. That is mumukshutvam. So if you have mumukshutvam, everything else will follow, because you have that burning desire. Even if you don't have other values and all that, when the guru is telling you, you will be able to pick it up easily. And all other things the guru can again help you, different types of analysis and why these values you should have. So all these things you will understand easily. The important thing is to be a mumukshu first. That I want this freedom. I want to be free of all limitations. And it is achievable. Don't think that you are any less than anybody else. See, one of the biggest problems in again being a mumukshu also is to just think that somebody else is so great. How can I be like that and all? No, don't think like that. If Ramana can have enlightenment, you can also have. If my guru is considered as a Jivan Mukta, I can also have that. That's the attitude you should have. There's nothing wrong in that. If the whole pursuit is to become a jnani, so don't ever entertain even a single thought that you cannot be a jnani. The whole Vedanta Shravanam is, in fact, Vedanta is simple. The whole issue is to own up this knowledge. That only takes lot more time. Of course, to own up this knowledge, you have to leave all these wrong notions, all the accumulated habitual tendencies and all that. That's what even these values are all helping you to get rid of wrong notions and habitual tendencies which are an obstruction to owning up the vision of Vedanta. But it is doable. It's not something beyond you. Each one of you, if you are listening to this class, itself points to something. So don't think that somebody is great. Oh, how can I be like him and all that. You don't have to be great to be a jnani again. Even that is a wrong notion. You don't have to be anything. Right now you are a jnani. As you are the limitless. That is the teaching. So this again, these are all some subtle things which people miss. So they think, okay, Kanchi Mahaperiva is a great person. Yes, he is a great person. He is a saint. You can do namaskaram, all that. But don't think that I cannot be like that and all that. In fact, you don't have to be a Kanchi Mahaperiva also. To be a jnani, you have to be a jnani. That's all. There is no other criteria or anything else. So it is as simple as that. And if you are able to appreciate that fact, then you are on the right track. So just listen to Vedanta and learn to see yourself in the light of what the Shastra is revealing. That's all you have to do. Always make an effort to look at yourself from Shastra Drishti, not your Avichara Drishti. Your currently whatever you think about yourself is all unanalyzed, correct? Avichara Siddha, we call it. It has been there naturally. Naturally means without any analysis, whatever was forced on you by others, the society, you have grown up thinking you are so and so and all that. But that's not what the Shastra says you are. So that has to be now owned up. That has to be appreciated. That's all. That's all is there in this pursuit. So all these values again are there only to get rid of all these limiting tendencies, correct? You have a certain way of thinking which reinforces the idea that you are limited. We want to get rid of all those ideas. Each and every value in fact really is helping you to get rid of any of these limiting tendencies in fact. That's the important thing. So anyway, so here we saw that you have to appreciate that the regular life is all only for the limited body. Whatever you think, the janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, all these things are painful. They are dukkha, they are also dosha. That's not what I really want. So if you are able to appreciate that, that will again help you to have a certain vairagya also. Okay. So if you appreciate this fact, then towards worldly things you don't have to be so attached. So that is the, in fact, that is the next value. In fact, in the next verse, Bhagavan will be talking about attachment only. Ownership, attachment towards putra dara grihadishu. See, in general, appreciating certain things like house is not, it's okay, it is my house, still I am not the one who is responsible for building it entirely, correct? So many people help me. Or like that, so many objects, you can appreciate that you are only a trustee. You may not be the real owner. So to have a anahankara bhava towards certain objects is very easy. But what about my own child? I gave birth to this child. Putra, Dara, my own wife. Of course, Griha also. For some people, building a house is a big dream, correct? So towards that also, if we have attachment, ownership, then it is a problem. Again, this ownership of all these things are also only a limited thing, correct? It is not something, neither it is going to be permanent. The house cannot be permanent. All your relationships also cannot be permanent. Although we say happy ever after and all that, it can end anytime. So how do we, then we have to appreciate that reality. So the next verse actually talks about that. So let us chant that. Asaktiranabhishwangaha
Ashaktiranavishwangaha
putradara grihadishu
putradara grihadishu
nityancha samachittatvam
nityam cha samachittatvam
ishtaništopapattishu.
ishtaništopapattishu.
So asaktihi. So saktihi means having a certain attachment to something as an owner. And abhishwangaha means you are having a, like a pasam and all we say, correct? You have a certain attachment to your own relatives, your son. So those things is called abhishwangaha. Abhishwanga. So saktihi abhishwangaha, the opposite is asaktihi anabhishwangaha. Towards what? Putra means children. Dara means wife. Griha means house. Adi also. There is an Adi pada is there. Maybe some people in US they are crazy about cars, correct? So even a car is like a first home for some people or second home, we can say. So people are crazy about different things and they think that without that I cannot be happy. Or if something happens to that only, you lose your happiness, you lose your peace of mind. The very thought that something can happen to my son or to my car or to my house can give someone a heart attack because they are so attached to that, correct? Very attached to certain things. That is the abhishwanga. Also, you think that you are the owner of these things. So there is a ownership also idea is there and a very deep attachment to different things in life. Both these things you have to get rid of. And again, it's a fact, correct? You are not really the owner. You can't claim ownership on anything. That's the fact we have to understand. We have discussed this point even before, correct? Even your own body, as I told you, so many people have a claim. That's why even suicide is illegal because the state has a claim on your body. You have to perform your duty as a citizen. Or if some war is there, they may conscript you and put you in the army. So state expects you to do certain things for itself. Your family has expectations from you. So everybody has a claim and expectation from you. So your own body also you cannot claim you own. So that is also not 100% true. Then what about the other things? So you are not the author of your own children also. If you are truly the author of your children, maybe you may have even designed them slightly differently. I don't know. Correct? So even that the very process of conceiving a child and delivering and all that, it is beyond us. There is a that Ishvara is there in that, correct? That whole phenomena of reproduction is Ishvara. So that we have to appreciate. So if we are able to again change our drishti, our attitude towards the things which we love the most, even there, of course, that doesn't mean you should not care for your child or care for the house in which you are living. No, that's not the point here. Caring for something is different from being attached to something. So that is the fine line. So it is not that you just then stop caring for it or you don't care whatever your child does. I don't care. No, that's not the attitude we are talking about. As a parent, you even have a duty to care for your child. So caring is okay, caring is good, but being attached is the problem. So that is the fine line here. That is the understanding we are looking at. That is the attitudinal change we want to bring. In fact, you may even care better because if you are too attached to something, you become anxious, correct? So if something happens also, something dangerous is there also, you may not be able to function properly because your own attachment creates certain anxiety in you and you may not be in a best position to take the right decision. In fact, that is why people say the doctor should not perform operation on their own relatives. These things are there. Judges recuse from many cases. So these things and all we know, correct? So it's not very easy to be dispassionate when it comes to one's own close relatives and all that. See, even in our culture, these points are all there, interesting, correct? So you go to Kashi, what do we do? So Kashi is an interesting example. So we go to Kashi means we ask, what did you leave at Kashi, correct? So certain whatever vegetables which you like, you are supposed to leave and take a vow that you won't eat it again. The idea is that there is nothing in this world which is so important that you cannot think that if I don't have this, I won't be happy. There is not even a single thing like that in this entire creation. So you can get rid of anything and still be yourself and be a happy person, be a contented person. So that is the important thing. So when you go to Kashi, actually you are supposed to, some people go there and leave bitter gourd, okay, or some kova kai, which they never eat anyway. No, that's not the point. If you like potato, then you go and leave potato. Okay, that is the idea. Whatever you think is your favorite, you should be ready to leave that vegetable or fruit or whatever. There are different categories also there, correct? If you go to Kashi, in that ritual, you have to take a vow and say, I won't eat this vegetable, this fruit, like that, different things they will give you. And that again is a certain maturity, correct? You are able to take a vow and fulfill it, means that shows a certain maturity, and that shows to yourself also that I can be happy without my favorite thing. Not a big deal. You can create other things. You can enjoy. So many things are there, correct? The world is vast. So you don't really depend for your happiness on any one thing. That's the important thing. So that kind of a maturity we have to develop, so that you don't get attached to any one thing, but you can enjoy everything as it is. Objectively, if you are able to enjoy things, that is good. But don't become subjective and don't become attached and think that, and when you become subjective, you give a certain value to the object which it does not really have. Understand that. If you think that money only can make me happy or some other thing only can make me happy, means you are actually subjectively superimposing a value on that thing which it does not really have. That is what you have to understand. So that subjectivity you remove and you can still enjoy something objectively. Money's buying power you can enjoy. Somebody's company you can still enjoy. Somebody's accomplishment you can enjoy. All these things are fine. You can care for somebody and have a certain contentment in caring for others itself. We get some happiness, correct? If you are able to help others, we get certain happiness. So those things are fine. But being without any attachment, without any sense of ownership, without any ahankara, you can do all these things. So that is the crucial thing here. So we'll stop here. Next week we'll look at this. The next value is samachittatvam. Okay, that is actually karma yoga only. So we'll be discussing karma yoga as a topic in the next class. Okay, so Om Purnamadav Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Om
Purnamadah
Purnamadah
Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnat
Purnat
Purnamudachyate
Purnamudachyate
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya
Purnamevavashishyate.
Purnamadaya
Purnameva
Purnamevavashyate.
Shishyate.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi
Harihi
Om
Om
Sri
Sri
Gurubhyo
Gurubhyo
Namaha
Namaha.
Harihi Om.
Harihi
Harihi
Om.
Om